Mr. Stoskopf.
Chairman Stabenow, Ranking Member Roberts, and members of this committee, thank you for allowing me to present you a Central Kansas view of the conservation title of this next farm bill. After talking with many of my fellow producers, I'd like to share the following guidelines that I believe will allow our conservation programs to continue the legacy of success they have been. Number one, keep programs simple. Number two, keep programs local. Number three, keep the staff of NRCS as friends and advisors to the farmers, not enforcement agencies for the federal government. Keeping conservation simple. A major component of simplifying programs is the consolidation of programs, which we've talked about today. And there are a number of proposals before you to do that and to put them into three basic categories: working lands, land retirements, and land easement programs. Reducing complexity should reduce the overhead associated with administering dozens of different programs and allowing program dollars to reach their intended purposes. In working lands, I believe EQIP has become the workhorse of the conservation program. It offers producers a wide range of options and practices and results in many successful partnerships. One program I'm concerned doesn't offer that same level of benefit for our investment is the Conservation Stewardship Program. Although it is intended to be a comprehensive approach to conservation with payments made for implementing specific practices, I see compliance issues that lead to mistrust and dollars being spent without the same level of benefit of other programs. The conservation program remains our premier land retirement program. In Kansas, we had a little over 2.5 million acres enrolled in CRP. Last year, 60,000 acres were hayed and more than 200,000 acres were grazed under the emergency provisions of CRP. I do see several potential areas for improvement with regards to CRP's ability to mitigate the effects of a major drought. Number one, allow hay harvested from CRP land under an emergency declaration to be sold. This regulation often prevents one producer who may not have cattle from being able to provide hay to another one who does. There's just not the incentive there to do that. Number two, expand emergency haying and grazing operations beyond the disaster-declared counties. When a county has been released to start emergency haying and grazing under extreme drought, the area usually is already under that extreme drought, and those grasses aren't very good to hay or graze. It's been too late. Allowing neighboring counties that aren't as drought strict to perform emergency haying and grazing operations could greatly increase the amount of forages available. Number three, examine procedures for releasing counties for emergency haying and grazing. The current provisions for releasing a county work well when the severe weather is limited to a small area, but it is too cumbersome a process for a drought as large as the one in 2011. Number four, allow the state FSA committee to determine which CRP practices are eligible for managed haying and grazing and emergency haying and grazing. Local and state entities are in the best position to make decisions regarding practices on CRP acres. The Conservation Reserve Program continuous sign-up has also yielded tremendous environmental benefits and is an example of prudent use of available dollars. It simply makes sense to expand the enrollment of highly sensitive areas of the land, typically in smaller tracts such as buffers, filter strips, and other areas that improve the soil, water, and wildlife habitat quality. Keeping conservation local. Every region of the country has different conservation needs and requires locally tailored solutions. Farmers working with the local NRCS staff are best able to develop those solutions that will work well for their areas. Working land programs should be administered as locally as possible and no higher than the state level. Local landowners, tenants, and advisors have a much better understanding of the needs in their area as well as the solutions that will work. Advice and support versus enforcement. NRCS staff and the staff of the local conservation districts have always worked cooperatively with local farmers to advance conservation. As farmers, we trust those advisors. If NRCS becomes an enforcement agency, that trust will be lost along with the cooperation. Thank you for the opportunity to address your committee today, for taking my views and opinions into consideration as you deliberate on the conservation title. Cooperation between ag producers and the government has created a legacy of positive conservation efforts in this vast country. Together we can continue this legacy for future generations.